drawings and also symbols and indications. So let's go to floor finishes. So, class, starting from, okay, lecture 8 to 9 is introduction for measurements, telling you what is the basic, time sync, and blah blah blah. So only now, session 10 to all the external planning is actually how to measure an item and elements. And these will be tested in your final exam. Okay, actually this module is 100% coursework. Okay, so the exam, the sitting examinations that you're doing is actually a test assessment, but it is conducted during the exam period. Understand, class? So it's still written, okay? But it's still written because I don't want to confuse you when you look at the module. It's 100% coursework. Okay? Coursework means test is also under coursework. Understand? Only final exam is exam. Okay? So this is a test that is conducted during the exam period. Alright? So it's also still the same format that we are using like final exam. Okay? So let's go through the floor finishes. Okay, so when we talk about internal floor finishes or floor finishes, you need to refer to section 28 in NRM 2, okay?
Hello.
Okay, this one is the examples of the finishes just to have an idea.
100 years ago, most renders and plasters were made from lime. Lime was produced by burning chalk or crushed limestone, calcium carbonate. This produced a material known as quicklime, calcium oxide. The quicklime was then mixed or slaked with water to produce lime putty. This mix of slaked lime and water could be stored almost indefinitely.
30 minutes. You don't have time for that.
When required, it was mixed with sand or other fine aggregates to form durable but flexible internal plasters and external renders.
So this is examples of wall finishes, right?
In
When you're
lowland
doing
areas,
plastering.
especially the central, southern and eastern parts of the country, lime plasters and renders weatherproofed medieval timber frame buildings. In rural areas, this timber frame tradition continued well into the 18th century.
Okay, class, if you look at this one, the construction, we actually plaster at the timber framing, timber. But in Malaysia, what do we use? What do we use? We use bricks. So we plaster on the bricks, right? So different country, based on the availability of the materials, we will use different methods of construction. So because timber is expensive in Malaysia due to scarcity, and also we are trying to reduce the forest logging, so we use bricks, right? So this is different types of construction where they actually use a timber framing wall, okay? So
New buildings in western areas and in seaside resorts generally are finished with render, sometimes coloured with pigments, sometimes painted. In the early 19th century, rendered finishes became fashionable in Regency towns such as Brighton and Cheltenham. The render was traditionally known as stucco. Sometimes the render was incised with fine lines to look like expensive ashlar stonework. Pilasters, capitals, cornices and window surrounds could all be formed in render. Stucco was regularly painted with a coloured lime wash to improve weather protection. During the Victorian period, improvements in cement technology produced a faster setting and stronger render with better weatherproofing qualities. Throughout the country, it became a common finish for speculative housing, particularly at the rear of properties where it often hid brick walls of dubious quality.
This is the plaster, this is the brick wall.
Rendering remained popular throughout the 20th century. There are thousands of examples from every decade. Houses were rendered for a variety of reasons: to provide a decorative or fashionable finish, to prevent damp penetration, or to hide cheap blockwork or poor quality bricks. Rendering is still common today. This smooth-faced render contains coloured pigments which preclude the need for painting. Textured finishes can be formed by adding small stones or chippings to the wet render surface. A variety of colours are available. This finish is commonly known as pebble dash. This is wet dash or rough cast. It's more durable than pebble dash because the stone chippings are not applied afterwards but mixed in with the render and then travelled onto the wall. It's almost a fine concrete. These houses have what's sometimes referred to as a Tyrolean finish. It can be formed from a wet mix of cement and sand or a bagged material which includes pigments. It's flicked onto the surface of the render by a hand-operated machine. Its texture is similar to rough cast. Nowadays, rendering is often used to hide external wall insulation. In these houses, built in the 1930s, the U value of the external wall has been reduced from about 2.1 to 0.5. This will reduce the average heating bill by nearly 25%. A modern self-coloured thin coat render system hides and protects the polystyrene insulation slab. Slightly weaker mixes can be produced. One part cement, one part lime, and 6 parts sand produces a weaker render, but one that's more cohesive, easier to apply, and more durable. Liquid plasticizers can be used in place of lime to improve the nature of the mix. This render is 1 part cement and 6 parts sand with an added smooth stone, and some lightweight blocks don't provide a good mechanical key and can't resist this shrinkage. The result can be hairline cracking, which forms a characteristic map-like pattern. Water can penetrate these cracks but can't evaporate due to the density of the render. Strong renders on weak backgrounds can therefore increase the risk of damp penetration. Weaker mixes containing plaster substance to
Let me forward now. I want to see whether they tell about other finishes or just the whole video about plastering.
has not only bridged the
This
DPC,
is about plastering. I think you need to, because it's half an hour video. So I'll just try. I just want to give you an idea.
this roughens the surface slightly.
So these are all construction method. I just give you an example. This one, look at this plastic here. What is this plastic? Okay, what is this? What are they doing?
Strong undercoat should be left for several days to allow any shrinkage to occur.
So this one is actually, we don't actually measure this in the bills of quantity, but it's deemed to be included because it's specified in the pre-angles. This is called the angle plastic. So that when you actually plaster the angle here, okay, when you have the angle here, it is straight. It is straight, neat and beautiful. So if you don't have that plastic angle, you cannot form a very nice and fine finishes. You might be some crooked, and then, distorted. So that is why this plastic angle beads, it's concealed. Some are exposed. Sometimes when you look at the finishes, you can see a plastic line there, right? That is design and requirement. So when you actually do plastering, you need to do this kind of actually let the plaster hold, have a better grip. So if you don't have this kind of sometimes when you go to see some construction, they actually use the sponge and pat on it with the cement. And purposely they make it like very rough so that when they plaster, the plaster have a better grip to the blocks or whatsoever or bricks, right? If this is flat and you do not do any, grip here, and then your plaster will actually crack and fall down very easily. Okay, understand?
The nature of the final coat depends on the undercoat and the
So that's why
required
plastering,
finish.
when we measure, we only have 2 coats.
Top coat should generally be thinner and weaker than undercoats to ensure a good bond and minimise shrinkage. The top coat of this smooth finish render is about 6 mm thick. When the top coat is firm but not dry, it can be rubbed up with a wooden or plastic float. This roughens the surface slightly and gives an even finish.
This one is what we call trouble.
If a painted finish is specified, vapour-permeable paint should be used to allow evaporation from the wall. Oil-based gloss paints are not compatible with the alkaline nature of the cement. Painting, though, is a bit...
So class, this is what we call construction technology. You need to look at, you guys are more fortunate that there's a lot of YouTube that you can watch. So during my time, I do not have all these things. I have to really go and study the book, go to the library and read up. And then I don't have like 3D with audio, So you guys should have a better visualization than me. I mean, during my time when I was studying, right? So if you find it so challenging to actually read construction technology, maybe you can just Google up and understand how things are done. And when you do your measurement, you can do it so much better. All right? So I'm not going to show you everything here because it's quite long. I just want to check.
The plasterboard has always been nailed to the ceiling joint.
So I believe that this video, the 30 minutes video, they start off with the wall finishes, and later
To achieve
they
a
will
smooth,
go
true
to
surface for decoration, the setting coat
the ceiling finishes. All right, let's look at the ceiling finishes. Ceiling actually is quite straightforward. You can look around you, start
Bucket
looking around
ceilings
the
from the
building.
1930s were finished with sheets of fiberboard nailed to the soffit of the joists and then painted. Since the 1950s, most ceilings have been lined with plasterboard. This provides much better fire protection than lath or fiberboard.
Look at this. This is something we call it as a rock wool. We put it in the ceiling because for sound insulations and also sometimes for heat insulations. But normally these will be put at the highest level, under the roof. You don't need to waste money if this is a second floor. Because it's not direct exposed to the weather. Yeah? So that is why if you climb out, okay, don't do that lah. But if you climb out, you just push this panel, you can see what is inside. Basically, you see the framing only, right? There's no rock wool here, okay?
Traditionally, plasterboard has always been nailed to the ceiling joists. In recent years, screws have largely replaced nails.
So they have this framing.
Modern
It can be a
screws are
timber
fast,
ceiling
but
joist,
screws
but this
provide more
one,
reliable
actually you can see
fixing
this is
that's
part
less
of
likely
the steel aluminium
The
framing.
boards are fixed as standard joints,
that is the
with their
framing.
long edges at right angles to the joists. Noggins may be required depending on the thickness of the plasterboard and the joist centres. If 12.5
these
mm
are the
board
joists.
is used with joists at 600 mm,
So the terminology, what is joist, what is patent, this is called the notchings. Everything is timber,
if the
but
joists
different
are
parts will have
400
different
mm
names.
centres, the centre noggins are not normally required. Once the boards are in position, they're ready for taping and jointing. Since 2004, the building regulations have required improved levels of sound insulation in rooms below WCs and bedrooms. If 12.5mm plasterboard is used, it should normally be skimmed with plaster and a quilt should be added between the joists.
So this is the rock wool that you see just now. So, yeah.
If the plasterboard is fixed to resilient steel bars,
So you see
a
lots
skim
of
finish
services
will be
running on
required.
top of
These
the ceiling, right?
vibration-absorbing channels have been common since the late 90s.
See all
Another
the
option
connections.
is to use 15mm plasterboard fixed directly to the joists.
Once they fix, they will
This slightly
plaster it.
thicker board
So you have a
provides
flat
adequate
finish like
sand
this.
insulation, and because it's stiffer, doesn't always require centre noggings. Neither does it require a skim of plaster.
You don't plaster,
Early
you just
plasterboard
skim coat
systems
it.
were mostly designed
Thinner
for a
and
plaster
cheaper.
finish. In the late
So this is the
1960s,
different
architects
finishes.
became popular. Partitions divide space and may be load-bearing or non. Early stud partitions comprised top and bottom rails, a series of vertical studs, and one
Okay,
ground
partition
floor load-bearing
can be made of
partitions
fixed
sometimes had a
partition,
brick
which is
on
the
edge
brick wall,
infill.
cement
This gave better
sand,
sand insulation
right?
and fire
But
protection.
there are some places where we are using a dry
For the
partition,
first
which is
60
the
years
box.
or so of the 20th
Alright.
century, non-load-bearing partitions could be built in lightweight concrete or hollow clay blockwork.
Their hollow clay
The
block.
latter were very difficult to cut and were easily shattered. Then you recall, these provided little support.
So when do we use the drywall
Studding is
partition?
also used for all
So examples like if we are building a show unit, after the show unit you will demolish it. So you want it fast, you want it to be easy to erect and easy to demolish. So you will use a drywall partition. Like this one is unlikely we are using drywall partition because this is a permanent building, right? Okay. So these are talking about the partition. Basically, the partitions concept is very similar to the ceiling, where you have the timber framing, and you can put insulation in between, and also services, and you clad it with the plywood. All right. So this one you can look at the video. I just want to check: is there any floor finishes? This is example how things are done. So guys, if you think that your construction technology is not good, please go through videos like this. Yeah? This is not asking you to study, asking you to watch video, watch YouTube, right? Okay, so this one is done. This video is done, you can see. So this one is internal finishes. This
Welcome
is
to this tutorial on internal finishes. Installation floor, wall, 13 system ceilings, finishes and decoration will be identical.
I think this one is additional exercise for you. Let's go through the notes for finishes first. Okay, class, your friends who are absent, please tell them. If they ask you what has been taught, please share with them. Alright? Because I don't think anyone missing my class can understand it if you don't have idea at all. Yeah? So floor finishes materials. What do we have? Okay, today this is called measurement. We are teaching you measurement, how to measure floor finishes. What kind of floor finishes do we have, class? We have tiles. What else? Huh? What else do we have? First, you need to establish internal or external. So internal and external might be some differences. So we have tiles, we have carpet. What do we have? Marble. What else?
Concrete slab.
Concrete slab. Yes. What else? That means like cement render. Cement render. What else do we have?
Wood.
Timber flooring. Yeah, timber flooring. What else?
Glass block.
Sorry.
No.
What else?
Okay.
What else do we have? You can have, if it's external, remember just now you saw the wall, pebble dash. Do you hear that word, pebble dash?
Yes.
But in Malaysia, sometimes we call it pebble wash because you wash it with, you put the pebbles and you wash it. So we call pebble wash. So it's just a different terminology, but it's the same. So you always see all these finishes in toilets and sometimes in toilets and also at the external finishes, right? So if you look at the pavement here, you can see it's actually a concrete imprint texture, the red color ones with the lines. So that is actually a colored concrete imprint finishes for external walkways, right? So for external and internal, they have slight different. The durability is different, and we seldom see like mainly it's because of durability, right? It has to be heavy duty, right? So you cannot be putting marble on the road, right? When people drive through, it will break, right? So it's more on usage and durability. So look at this beautiful house, yeah? So we have finishes. If we look at this one, the whole house is laminated timber for the laminated timber finishes. As for downstairs, you can see it's mainly tiles, okay, which is quite common in our Malaysia houses as well. So if you look at this one, cement and sand screen. What is cement and sand screen? Look at the section here. So before you actually apply the final floor finish, right, you need to have a screen. Why do we need to have a screen? Why? As a finish or base for the final finishing material, accommodate services and improve sound insulation. Why do we need to have a screen? Number one, because our concrete slab is not finished perfectly. So there might be some ondulating. Ondulating means unevenness, you know. So very wavy, you know, very rough finish. So you need to have a screed on top to actually make sure that everything is flat. And also, in some circumstances, the screed is used as a bond to the finishes that you want to put. Like tiles, you need the screed. Alright? So, granolitic and terrazzo. Mixture of cement and granite chipping applied to concrete slab. Very hard wearing, used in area where easy maintain is required. So actually, if you notice some of your grandparents' house, yeah, or the house in your hometown, their finishes is this. We call it a terrazzo finishes, right? So they mix with all the pebbles that we see here. It's or granite chipping, we call that, a bit better ones, yeah, and mix with the cement and they cast. Okay, but now the terrazzo is something that is common. Okay, it's trending back, but it's expensive because sometimes they put glass chipping. So that's why you go to some floors, toilets in common areas, right? You can see the terrazzo is bling bling with the bling bling effect, you know, bling bling effect. This one is the simple one, all right? So, and also they have more colors. It's not so dull color. Now you can see a very beautiful terrazzo. See how beautiful is it? Okay, the grayish one is, this one is the old-fashioned type lah, okay? So now the new ones, you can make different patterns. I believe that you've seen all these things in most of the building, right? And then you look, it can be that beautiful, yeah, with lots of different colors. Sometimes they purposely put some glass inside or mirror inside so that it have that bling-bling effect, you know? So the technology, I mean the concept is the same, but the technology or the way of things is done is slightly different. Yeah. So this is example of terrazzo and it's one casting. Okay. So let's continue. So So these are actually ceramic or clay or natural stone tiles, right? So these are tiles. So you have this, this is the screeding or the grouting, cement and sand grouting, to actually hold the tiles there. So you can see a layer, yeah? Resist to chemical abrasions, easy maintenance, wide range of colors and design. Now they even have the tiles with a marble effect. Yeah, it's very interesting, and marble will be losing out because marble is expensive. Yeah, so if they have that kind of marble effect, porcelain tiles, homogeneous tiles, people will opt for cheaper options, right? But of course, marble will never feel the same compared to homogeneous tiles. When you put a marble at home, you can feel the floor is very cooling. Yeah, so. But it's very expensive. So this is wooden or parquet. Easy maintenance but expensive. So this is actually solid timber flooring. Meaning this thing is a solid timber. So the one that you go shopping like Vinci, you know, Vinci or Padini you go, when you walk at the floor you can hear the sound, very hollow sound, very hollow sound. That is not a solid timber. A solid timber, when you walk on it, you can feel very different, very solid. The sound is not hollow. But if you walk, you go to Padini and Vinci, you can see the finishes actually a wood finishes, right? But it's actually a laminated finish, right? So only the top layer is the laminated with the timber veneer, but the bottom is just rubber wood and normal woods, right? So that's the difference. So that is why it says expensive. Yeah, it's expensive, like I say, because of scarcity of wood. I think in UK or in some other countries, they still use a lot of wood in their woods for their construction because they have a lot of woods available. But for Malaysia, we are trying to control the deforesting due to sustainability issues and environment issues. So timber becomes scarce and it's very expensive. So last time we used to say, oh, poor people stay in wooden house, rich people stay in brick houses, right? So now it's the other way around. Rich people stay in wooden house now, right? So brick is more common, okay? So this one is actually carpet. I think it's, they're using a similar carpet like us, huh? Yeah, so this is carpet. How do we lay the carpet? Carpet, do we use cement and grouting? No, what do? We put adhesive, we glue it, right? So carpet come in very different form. This is what we call the carpet tiles. Yeah? Carpet tiles. So that means you can take it up in a tile form, the squarish form. But the carpets that you see in hotels, how's the feeling when you step with this, compare the feel of stepping this carpet and the carpet in the hotel? Same? Are you sure? Huh? No, you go to the ballroom hotel, you step at the carpet, you feel it very soft. Very soft and very fluffy, you know, their carpet, right? So those carpet is not carpet tiles, they are roll carpet. Roll carpet. And the carpet comes in different ounce. What do you mean by different ounce? Different thickness. The threads, the number of threads is different, right? So these are the specifications that you need to mention, because a carpet tiles you have a different price compared to a roll carpet. And a roll carpet, you have a grade A and grade C carpet, depending on the thickness, the yarn, the quality, okay? So you need to specify it correctly. Require regular maintenance, cheap to install, expensive to clean, yes. You need a specialist to clean your carpet, isn't it? A floor, we just mop it. But carpet is expensive to clean. Okay, just to ask Eve, does your house is your house all fully carpet? No. So what is the floor finishes? Or wood. What about you, Jade? Is it? Or
In my
laminate?
Johor house,
Okay.
it's like
Why? Because I noticed
orange.
overseas they always have their house are all fully carpet.
Tribal house is more like
I noticed that fully carpet.
you can see.
Yeah. Why? Why?
What?
Why? Why do you think so? Because they have winter. So imagine if the house is very cold.
Oh yeah, oh my god.
Very, very cold. Right?
That's so cool.
Oh my god.
Of course, the Malaysian, East Asia